Hello, hi everyone. I'm just going to see if I can find me on the iPad. Just give it a minute to load. Right, there we go. Right, hello. I'll just move that up. Actually, I might move the camera down towards me a bit more. And then hopefully you can see it a bit better. That's better, isn't it? Right, hello everyone. Hopefully a few of you will join me today. I know Jean certainly can't join us. I think she's having her hair done today. But yeah, hopefully a few of you will join. I'm just trying to find the new stamps to get them out on the table. So yeah, I hope you all managed to catch up on Jean's sneaky peeks yesterday. It was lovely to see everybody's makes. Everyone's made such lovely things. But yeah, so the new stamps, how exciting. They're going to be out tomorrow. On the website. It is tomorrow, isn't it? It's Tuesday today. Yeah, tomorrow. Losing track of days. It's been a bit of a manic week. So yeah, these are going to go on the website live tomorrow. I can't remember what time Jean said now. I'm sure we'll find out and put some posts up. They are such fun stamps. Of course, these ones are designed by Sharon Bates. So yeah, they automatically go to my favourite list because Sharon does some amazing images. I just love her whole collection. They're so fun to work with, and these certainly aren't any different. But yeah, I have a bit of a confession with this one. I think when I first saw this and I knew that Jean was going to be getting this, I asked if we could have some musical notes, because it actually looked like to me it looks like he's wearing headphones. It didn't even occur to me at the time that they were ear warmers. So yeah, I asked if we could have some musical notes to turn them into headphones for, like, you know, teenage cards and or just music lovers. Yeah, so it's funny how I think everybody looks at, you know, one image and sees different things, isn't it? It's totally bizarre. But yeah, I'm not going to be using that one today. I'll probably use that one during tomorrow's live. And I probably will do a bit of a teenage kind of funky card somehow. Haven't decided yet. Just going to have a sip of drink. Sorry, I don't know what it is. As soon as you get on a live or get on the phone, you feel like you need to have a coughing fit. So yeah, I'm going to be using this one today, which is Love from Colin. Merry Christmas from Colin, rather. And yeah, he's great fun. Although today I'm going to be pinching Mum's idea, and I'm going to be turning it into I think she named it Colette, didn't she, yesterday? So yeah, he's going to be turned into a Colette, and I'm doing a bit of a pink card, which I've never done for Christmas. I tend to avoid like the mints, you know, minty colours, pink colours and everything else. I suppose I like to use sort of more traditional colours, kind of the greens, reds, golds. And if you, well, obviously if you're doing like a nice scene, you could use sort of a nice bluey sky or whatever. But yeah, pink and this minty colour, it's not me for Christmas. But I thought I'd give it a try. I think we've got 7 watchers. I haven't had any comments pop up yet. I hope that's working. But yeah, so I might get started on this. Let's pop this to the side. I think to start with, I'm going to start on the background. It's going to be a bit of a higgledy-piggledy one, because I'm going to start on the background but then pop it to the side to let it dry for a little while. So I've got here a piece of card that will fit on a, do you know, I can't remember what size card this is now. It's completely gone. Is it 5x7? Yeah, 5x7 card blank, that's the one. So yeah, I'm going to be using these Distress Oxides. I go through phases of using inks and oxides. I really love using the speckled egg one, especially with this technique. I think it works really, really well. I'm just going to come off and go back. I don't know if it, oh yeah, there are comments. I don't know what was happening there, sorry. Nothing was loading. Right, hi Sarah, hi Debbie, hi Sue, hi Mum. I know you've been busy sharing to other groups for me. Hi Anne, sorry that I'm late, not to worry. Background is a beautiful colour combo, thank you very much. I had quite fun sort of throwing all the different things at it. But yeah, and I'm going to be doing a different technique today that was actually half inspired by one of Dora's lovely cards. She put a card up the other day and said that she was using embossing and foiling. And of course it got me curious, and I've done a bit of investigating, and I bought some sticky embossing powder. So I've had a little play with it, and I really like using it. So I'm going to be using that today. Yeah, I think that's going to be a bit of a new addiction, that, because I do love using foils. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to get started on this background. I do hope the comments don't keep playing up. I've just had to kind of go out of the video and then come back into it, so I don't know what's going on there. Nice coloured. Your nails are gorgeous, Dina. Oh, thank you, Anne. Gone for a bit of a Christmassy vibe today. It's funny, I'm actually quite looking forward to Christmas this year. I think we're in a new house and everything, so it's all quite exciting. But yeah, thank you very much. Speckled Egg, my favourite distress ink colour. Yeah, it's one of mine. I actually love using distress ink with one of the browns, which is Gathered Twigs. But I'm not going to do that today. So I'm literally just going to start. I'm not going to use any blending brushes here. I'm just going to drag the ink pad across the page. So I'm going to start at the top and just literally drag it down. Now, I'm not going to completely fill in all the white marks. I actually want the white showing through, because I'm going to do some different colours on this. As you can see, I'm using these 3 colours, so I'm just literally dragging it down. So I think I'll leave it there, and then go in with Shabby Shutters. That is okay. You need to check how wet it is in between your colour changes, because obviously if it is very wet, just give it a quick blast with the heat gun. At the moment it's not too bad. So I'm just going to drag down again. I really love the sort of streaks that you get from doing this. I think it's really nice. And let me just check that over again before I go in with my next colour. Right, I am just going to dry that off, because now I've got the 2 coats on there. It is quite wet now. I don't really want to contaminate with my ink pads. And I'm also just going to give my messy mat a quick wipe over. I will clean it properly in just a minute, but for now that will do. So I'm now going in with Cracked Pistachio. I absolutely love this colour. I'm using it so much at the moment on all different things. Yeah, it's a great colour. So again, I'm just going in. Now, if you find that one of the colours that you really want showing through has been covered up a little bit, you could just go back over it with the colour you want. I think that's the great thing about oxides. You know, they sort of don't blend as much. They sort of layer more than anything, don't they? A bit more there maybe. might go in with a bit more speckled egg. So yeah, you can just keep sort of adding the colours as to get the sort of colour you want. Quite like doing this technique as well for like Christmassy cards, because you know, where it's sort of streaky, it's like a, you know, a bit like a whirlwind, sort of a snowy whirlwind kind of thing, if that makes sense. Right, and I think I'm going to leave it there actually. But I'm not too worried about all the streaks in this, just because once I've started adding everything else on here, it all kind of blends in, and I'm actually going to add some more streaks to it anyway in a little while with some white paint. Right, I'm just gonna clean this off now. And I will just give this another quick blast. I will pop this aside now that I've done this bit, because I do want it fully dried before I start on anything else, because that sticky embossing powder, it does get everywhere. So you do want a nice dry background when working with that. I don't actually know if that is the stuff that Dora used on her card. I suppose it'd be interesting to find out. I do rather like it. It's quite fun to play with. I've never actually heard of it until Dora posted her card up. Right, so now that's dry, I'm just going to pop that to the side to let it dry a little bit more. Looks a bit like washed wood. Really nice effect. Yeah, it does actually. And that's, I think if you use the speckled egg and the brown, you get a really nice kind of wood effect. Hi Gwen, hi Barbara. Right, I do apologise if I'm missing any comments here. I don't know what's going on. None of the comments seem to be loading as they're kind of coming through, so I'm having to click out of it and then click back on. So I'll keep trying to do that. Right, where's my piece of card? Right, so I'm now going to grab the what one did I say this was? Colin, but we're nicknaming it Colette today. As you can see, I've cut out the sentiment from the balloon. I just thought it was easier. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can just mask it off, which is what I'm going to sort of show you how you can do that, if I can find my masking tape. There it is. So when I'm stamping this, I don't want the balloon in it today. I literally only want the bird. So I'm just going to grab my masking tape and stick that. You want to stick it over all the balloon. Well, not all of it. I'm not going to bother doing this because I'm just going to make sure that I don't ink it up here. But any other balloon that's sort of near the bird, just make sure that it's all nicely covered. So it might be easier if you break off little bits just to get sort of near the edge. There's a bit there that I'm just going to stick that bit on. And again, go in here. Right, so I'm just going to leave that on there now, and I'm going to grab my ink. So I'm using the Versafine Clair, and I'm just going to ink it up. Don't worry about getting ink on your masking tape. That's the whole point of the masking tape being there, just so that you're not getting the ink on the balloon. And as you can see, I'm not inking up this section of the balloon. Right, now for this bit you need to work fairly quickly, and you need to pull the masking tape off. Now when you do this, I'd suggest putting it right back at quite quite an angle. I don't know if you can sort of see that. I'm pulling it sort of almost downwards away from the stamp, just so that I'm not pulling the stamp off the stamp block. There we go. And I'm going to pop that aside. I've got a mark on that bit of card, so I'm just going to go in that here. And I'll go about there. Just going to use my Baron tool. I think every time I use this, I always think of poor Leslie. I just moved that stamp, so I'm hoping it's not going to come out blurred. Might have to do it again otherwise. No, that's where's that? Oh, so that's part of the balloon. So I have actually got some of the ink on there. I'm actually going to clean that off and restamp that. Okay, perhaps I can use part of this side. Let me just grab my rag. Don't know how I managed that. It must have been from when I stamped it last night and not cleaned it off. So I'm just drying it all off. Sorry, I'm off camera at the moment. So I'm just going to have another attempt at that. And again, masking it all off here. I'll move it over so you can see. I'm hoping it doesn't show through again. I don't know what's gone on there. I was playing about with it last night, so I obviously didn't clean it properly. And that last little bit there. You know, just because I'm live and I don't want to keep messing it up, I am just going to do that. It's getting quite warm in here. I think I've shut the conservatory door, which I don't normally do, just to keep the dog out. And as soon as that door's shut, it does, if the heater's on, it gets really warm in here very quickly. Right, hopefully it works this time. Oh yeah, pull the masking tape off. And again, I'm going in right at quite an angle just so it doesn't pull it off my stamp block. Right, let's try again. I'll go about there. Fingers crossed it works this time. That's better. Right, now I'm just going to emboss this with some Wow embossing powder. That pesky ink gets everywhere. Oh, it certainly does. I can't wait to get both the birds. They are so much fun. You certainly won't be disappointed with these. We've had a great deal of fun playing with them. I think, like all Sharon Bates images, they're just, yeah, they're great, aren't they? Better put the lid on that actually, because I do knock things over. I'm now just going to emboss this. Hi Jill. You know, I usually stamp and emboss everything, just because I like to use alcohol markers with most things. And I'm not so keen on using the memento with the markers. I don't know why. I think it's just habit. I'm automatically drawn to the, you know, the Versamarks. Right, I'm just going to trim this down. I usually butt the image right up to this little, you know, edger tool bit, and then slice down, so it just leaves a nice gap in between each bit. And about there. Right, I'm now going to grab one of my brushes. Is it that one? And I'm just going to use some cracked pistachio and just distress around the edge slightly, just so it sort of brings it in with the background a little bit. A bit more around the legs. There's not so much white showing through. Right, I think maybe I'll leave it at that. And then I'm going to start colouring now. Where did I put my pens? I have actually prepared, I've got all my pens out ready. Right, so browns. Or I thought I did. Where's my cocoa gone? Oh, there it is. Right, so I'm going to start with the colouring the bird in. So I'm going to go with cocoa and some sandstone and satin for this one. Cracked pistachio is a lovely colour. Oh, it certainly is. I think it's one of my favourites at the moment. So I always like to go around the edge of his face a little bit just to darken that up. I'm saying his, it's going to be a her today, isn't it? And then the wings. I think this brown is on its last legs now. I'm having to slowly update some of my pens. I have had some of them for so many years, probably since I first started crafting, so they've been in my stash for a while. I think this is another one that needs updating. So I'll use the thicker end. And on the wings. Trying to be a little bit careful here, just because I said my thinner end has sort of dried out a little bit. Right, I'm going to use the thinner end to do his little legs. And then go in with the satin. And just blend them colours in again. Right, now because we're turning this into a bit of a girly image, I'm going to add some little rose pink cheeks. So, and then I'm going to go back with my satin colour and just blend the edge of that pink into the browns a little, just so there's not such a harsh line. There we go. And what next? Let's do the tummy. So I'm going to go in with, I actually managed to find these pens and they match the cracked pistachio perfectly. So this is just green pro marker and mint green. I said they match perfectly. So I'm going to go around the outside of his tummy first. And then a little bit of mint green. And then I'm going to go back in with some rose pink again. Now on this, I'm not actually overlapping the colours on this pink. I'm going to go back in, well, I am slightly actually. I'm going to go back in with the mint green and just blend the colours in a little bit more. So again, that line isn't quite such a harsh line. And where I've done that, I'm going to drag the pink back in again. Just ever so slightly. You can keep doing that until you're sort of happy with the blend. I think I'm just going to leave it there. Oh no, I think actually on that, I did actually go in with the satin. That was it. I went in with the satin. And I just kind of went round, because it's quite a light colour. It just helps to blend the two, and you don't sort of notice. It's the same colour that I used on the bird's face. So it just helps to blend it in a little bit more. This satin is probably my most used pro marker. I use it for so many different things, and you know, different blends and stuff. It's brilliant. They are such fun characters. They certainly are. They're great for paper piercing. Yes, on this one I did actually, because when I was doing a little trial run, I did actually cut the hat and scarf out because I messed up the colouring underneath. But I mean, you could put some you know, silicone glue underneath it and raise them up a little bit. I haven't, just because if I am going to post these out, postage is quite expensive now. And yeah, I'm not going to pay the extra for, you know, sending raised cards. I think at Christmas you tend to send so many cards out. It just gets quite expensive, you know, if you're having to put a large stamp on them. So you do have to be a bit mindful of that. Obviously, it doesn't matter so much if you're giving them by hand. Right, and I think I'll do this bit here as blue. So I'm using Midnight Blue for this bit. And I'll do his bobble bit blue as well. And then I think I went in with, what colour is this? Violet. And I sort of dragged the colour down a little bit more. So I'm doing this on the scarf just to add a bit of dimension to the scarf. It's quite nice that, you know, you can do so much with colours, can't you, just to make it look a little bit more 3D without having to raise areas up on the card. Sorry, I'm just going back again to see if anyone else has comments. It's a shame that many people have stopped sending cards because of postage costs. Yeah, it is. But unfortunately, it's just so expensive, isn't it now? I mean, I sent 2 things the other day, 2 small, large envelopes, and they were it was £5 to send the 2 things. You know, they're not they weren't very big, and it's the same goes really. You know, that would be no different to sending cards that are sort of have raised areas on, because straight away there you have to put like a large stamp on, don't you? So yeah, if you were just sending cards with sort of raised areas, 2 large ones, that's £5. That's quite a lot. It is such a shame, but obviously I suppose the prices of everything's going up now, isn't it? So I'm using fuchsia pink here. For the stripes and on the other bit of the hat. And then going back in with the rose pink. I think perhaps I should have done that the other way around, but never mind. And then it's the beak. Do a nice yellow beak. Mum suggested you could put a bit of lipstick on the beak. I'm not going to do that on this one. Right, now for eyelashes, I'll pop these pens out of the way now I'm finished with them. I'm going to grab one of my micron pens and just add some little flicks as eyelashes. I think she looks so cute as a little girly bird. I think Mum named her Colette. I think Jean called her something different. We have import tax in France. They wanted to charge £15 tax for a handmade card sent to us from the USA. Goodness me. I budget for postage and starve my husband and son instead. Yeah, it's a real shock, isn't it? Right, for the next bit, I'm going to add some foil around the border here. So I'm just looking for my glue. So I have used a different glue in the past, but I recently bought this Sticks 2 Quick Sticks, and it works much better. So the other pen that I used to use was the Quickie glue pen. It works fine, but you do have to wait for it to become tacky. So just for quickness and everything, I'm just going to use this. So I'm just going to literally drag a little bit around the edge. And then I'm going to smudge it in slightly with my finger. Now you can bring it in as much as you want. I'm only going a little way in. And again, just go around all the edges. And just kind of smudge it in. I'm afraid you do get a bit of a gluey finger, but I think using the foil is it adds just so much sort of, you know, class and everything to a card, doesn't it? It's so different. And last edge, again, smudge that in. Just wipe the glue off my finger. Now, as you can see, so these foils, this is actually an old foil. I think it's made by Craft, this one. But you can get ones made by Sticks 2. They work really well. I'm just going to run my finger along the edge to really push that foil into that glue. So these are for cold use. Obviously, you get the hot foils. These are, I don't really know what they're called, sort of, you know, just for use with glue and tape. So again, I'm just sort of pushing my finger in. If you find that there's an area that hasn't covered so well, you can try and go back in with it. So let me just hold that up. You can hopefully see that gold border. It's quite rustic. You know, there's not a definite line there because I've kind of smudged that glue in. I really love these foils. I think they're great. I've gone for a bit of a phase again of using them on everything. And they do last for ages. I mean, you can get so much out of them. So on this bit, it hasn't quite covered as much as I liked. That's better. So even when you think, you know, oh, I've used it all on there, you get all like these patchy areas where I've used it on different things. Just keep going in with it, and it's quite surprising how much of the foil you can get off. Chris did a card with the red beak. Yes, that's right. Sorry. It was Chris. So yeah, Chris added a little bit of red on the beak. Fantastic, so cute. Transfer foils, yes. I think they are just called transfer foils, but if you do get them, just make sure that you don't get ones for hot foil, because I don't think they'll work. I said Sticks 2 do these lovely little packets. You can get them in all different colours, sort of reds, gold, silvers, this lovely pattern. Sorry, the light's glaring on it a little bit there, isn't it? You can get holographic ones. They are great. I said my ones are quite old. I don't think you can get Trimcraft ones anymore. Right, I'm going to pop this to the side now and bring back my background. And then I've got my anti-static bag. I'm just going to have another sip of drink. I've got my anti-static bag. It's quite important you use this because the background is quite sort of chalky and everything, and the powder does really stick to it, so be quite extravagant with your anti-static bag here. Right, I'm now going to go in with, of course, the inky script. It's just a must-have in your collection. You know, you've seen me use this one so many times. I love it for backgrounds. And then I'm going to use Twilight VersaFine Clair. So I'm not going to mount this again. I'm just literally going to go for it. So I tend to just ink. You can see one bit's very well used on the bottom, not so much. So I'm just going to go in. I'm going to turn that round slightly. You do have to work quite quickly here. Once you've got the your embossing powder and stuff on. So yeah, I think if you're working in a very hot room, just be very mindful of how quick you're working. I'm just going to add little bits and dot them all over. And I think one more bit down here. Add a tiny little bit just there. Right, I'll pop that to the side somewhere. Just leave it there for the moment. Right. Now for this, I'm actually going to, I should have probably done it in stages, but never mind. Where's my powder? I don't want all the blue sections covered, so I'm literally only going to pour some powder on some areas. I only want such a small amount of gold showing through. You're not actually supposed to flick this stuff off. It sort of works a little bit different to the usual embossing powder. So as you can see, I hope you can see that. It's probably a bit difficult at the moment. I'm not putting the powder over all the stamped image because I do want some of the blue showing through. Yeah, let's just pop this back in now. And get rid of that. Right, I am going to emboss this in stages, just because I said you do have to work fairly quickly. So yeah, I'm going to emboss from underneath. So I don't really want it blowing off any of the fragments. I said it's quite a thick embossing powder, so the idea of this is that you don't flick it off. You know, like embossing powder, you tend to flick any of the excess off. So I'm just only heating this one corner section up for the moment. Actually, I could do that one as well at the same time, because my foil should be big enough. I'm just going to go back and heat that first bit up again. And then you quickly grab your foil. I'm using a slightly newer sheet here because I don't want it quite as patchy. So, and just lay it on. Now don't, the idea of this is don't rub your nail into it. Don't push down too hard to start with because the embossing powder is quite wet. And if you do that, you will kind of disperse the powder. As it cools down, you can start rubbing it in a little bit harder. And it should, hopefully, I've only tried this a couple of times, start pulling away. Now I've said before, I don't want too much coverage on this. I don't think that one's pulled quite so well. That one's better. So you can see on there, this area's done really well. I think because I've done the both and they were quite so far away. I wonder if I can heat that up a bit more. Let's try. I don't know if it'll go sticky again if I kind of heat it up again. Oh, it's pulled a bit more. Right, I'm going to start on this other one now. So I'm doing this middle section. Sorry, I am holding it up quite close to the camera. And go in again. Just carefully push it in. It's working lovely. Right, now for the last bits down the bottom. So I think it definitely needs to be done in stages. I said with this I'm not too worried that it hasn't done properly because I only wanted just a small touch of the gold. I love that background effect. I need to try my bonding powder and foils again. Yeah, I said I'd never heard of doing this technique, so this technique is all thanks to Dora. But I do really like it, and I love it just for like backgrounds, just to add a real touch, you know, like this. The foils give it a special touch. It certainly does. Yeah, I love it. I'll be using it again on various things. Right, I'm now going to go in with my stencil. I'd better speed up because I've just realised I've kept you already for quite some time. Right, I'm using quite a harsh brush, so I'm using the metallic gilding polishes. I think they're Cosmic Shimmer? I can't remember now. I'm sure they're Cosmic Shimmer, aren't they? Yeah, the gilding polishes. So this is rose gold. I love this one. It gives such a lovely effect. Is that my biggest brush? No, I've got a slightly bigger brush there. So I don't like using the sponges, plus mine have gone a bit manky, very hard. I haven't really looked after them properly, so I tend to always go in with a brush. I'm just lightly dabbing it in. This is quite a hard bristled brush, and I'm just going to push it in. Moved the stencil there. Just going to push it in various areas. This is the That's Crafty stencil. It is on the CI website, or it was when I checked yesterday. It's a fab stencil to have in your collection. It's lovely just for like filling in little spaces. So I'm just going to dot them all round in the rose gold. This colour is one of my favourite colours in this collection. But again, it's one of them products that kind of gets shoved to the back of the drawer and I don't seem to pull it out very often. Right, so that's with the rose gold. I've sort of left a few blank areas, but I think most of that's going to be covered in the centre anyway. And because it's a girl and I'm trying to tie it in a little bit with the, you know, the pink on the, whoops, the pink on the Colette, I should call her. I'm just going to add a little bit of pink. Now my pink's actually dried up quite a bit, so I'm going to have to add some water, I think, to that. So if you do find that you get these and they are a little bit dry, you can just add a touch of water. It didn't work when I done that with my sparkly ones. I did have to throw a few out, unfortunately. But it does work quite well with the normal, you know, metallic-y ones. Let's add some pink up here. Maybe a tiny pink here. Right, once you've done that, I'm just going to add some white streaks to make it look like, ooh, I've just dripped my card in the white paint. So I'm going to go in with a slightly different brush. Again, it's quite a harsh brush. Just pick up some white paint. This is white gesso. You want it quite dry. I think adding these makes it look like, you know, whirlwind of snow kind of thing. It's just a little bit different. So just add some sort of snow, blizzardy snow streaks. It doesn't matter too much if you go over what you've done. This is why I'm doing it sort of at the last minute. Just dot them wherever. I'm not doing too many in the centre because I said most of that will be covered up. A bit more here. I think I'll leave it at that for now. Right, and then I think that's more or less it actually for that one. I'm just going to mount it all now. So I have cut a piece of pink card out. I said really not the colours that I would normally go for, but I was trying to think of a colour for a mount, and I didn't want to use black. I don't like using mirror card, and yeah, pink just seemed to be the perfect fit for this. But because I haven't got much of this colour left, I am just going to gut it. I don't often do this, but I am this time, just because I said I don't have that much of it left. So I'm just going to cut the centre out. Now I'd recommend probably using a ruler for this, but I'm a bit of a klutz with a knife and a ruler. I'm not going to do that. I like to keep my fingers well away from the knife. So yeah, I'm just doing it like this, and I'll straighten it up with the guillotine. You're not going to see that section anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Let's get rid of my glass mat. Pop that there. Right, I'll stick this one down now. Where's my glue gun? So I'm using the cloud glue again. Now, obviously, because you're sticking it to just the little frame, I'm only going around the outside piece, the outside area. Just holding it up so that I can get that straight. I think I might have cut that bottom one a little tad wonky. No, it's not straight at the moment. There we go. Right, and this little piece that I've cut out for the, you know, I gutted out, I'm actually going to use to mount Colette onto. I'm going to keep that name. I think that name works quite well. So I'm just going to have a quick measure up. I said again, for the mounts, I always tend to do the same thing, which I said, I kind of line it up with that little, you know, this little ledge here. And then you sort of end up with the perfect size mount. Where's my glue gone? So I'm just going to pop this on here. Oop. That's about straight. Right, let's start sticking this on the card. Do you know what? I'm just going to give that wipe down because there's probably ink on there and it's probably going to go getting on the back of my card, which I really don't want. Let's just go back and reload. Oh, colours you've used are lovely. Oh, thank you. Right, yeah, so I've got a 5x7 card blank here. And where did I put the rest of it? There we go. So I'm now just going to stick it all together. I have actually got a sentiment already stamped, which I think I'm going to use that just to save a little bit on time. Right, I'm just going to hold that up and make sure that's straight. I think that is. Right, where's that little sentiment? There we go. I think I'll use the one that I created earlier on. So I'm just going to stick this. I'm actually going to stick it slightly off centre. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could use silicone glue to add some dimension and sort of raise it up and everything. I'm not going to, just because, as I said, if I do want to post this one out, it then won't cost me a fortune. Right. And then, so the Merry Christmas, I done in exactly the same way really as this. I stamped the sentiment. I then used the Crafty pistachio oxide ink to add some colour, and again some foil. I don't know if you can see the foil around the edge. I've done that in exactly the same way as this here. I'm trying to hold it so it hits the light. You can just about see it, I think. And oh, sorry, I've just knocked the phone then. I'm going to stick that about there. And then to finish it off, I'm actually going to be a bit naughty. I've got some craft candy in my stash. You could use little pearls, sequins, anything you want really. I'm just going to stick them in the corners. I'm using a bit of silicone glue here actually, just because they've got a slight raised, you know, they're sort of domed ever so slightly, aren't they? Card candy. So I want to make sure they're stuck really well. I'm only using a tiny bit. Probably should have got the tweezers out for this, but and I'm just sticking one in each corner. I said, if you don't have these in your stash guide, I don't actually think you can buy card candy anymore. But I've got so much of it. I think I actually got mine on Facebook Marketplace, a lot of mine. Somebody was selling a load off. But yeah, I think there's still places that you can get some, but if not, just use a little gem of some sort. Just realised I don't think that's entirely straight. Right, so there's the finished card. As I said, I think the foil just adds sort of a bit of touch of class. There's not too much on there that it's overpowering. I can't get it so that you can see it. Trying to move it a bit more. What about that way? Does that show up? Ah, you can just about see it there, can't you? Yeah, it just adds a little touch of class, I think, to the card without being too overpowering. But yeah, so that's the finished card. But yeah, I'll just see if I'm just trying to, whoops, see if I can get your comments up again. I said it's been a real pain, the iPad. I don't know what's going on with it today. I don't usually have problems like this. But yeah, today it's just I've had to keep coming out of it and then clicking back onto it to read them. Colours you've used a lovely, beautiful card. That's a sweet card. I love watching you demo. Well, thank you very much. I am back tomorrow. Beautiful card. Thank you, Sandra. Yeah, I am back tomorrow. It is a slightly different time tomorrow. I asked Jean if she'd mind me doing it slightly earlier because I very often have to pick my son up at 3 o'clock from school, and the school isn't. Well, I think it takes about 50 minutes to walk from here. But yeah, it's quite quick in the car, but not so much to walk it. So I do like to try and pick him up if I can. So just so that it's not interfering with anything like that. I am doing the live a little bit earlier tomorrow. So I'll be live again at 1 o'clock. I do hope you can join me. I'm going to be using the other bird. What's it called? Jeff. And I think I might do a nice kind of teenage card with headphones on that one. So yeah, a little bit different. But yeah, I hope you can join me tomorrow. And I'll see you then. I'm just checking again to see. Great card, Dina. Lots of great detail, thanks. Well, thank you. My has been the same. Can't see anyone else. Okay, awesome. Right, yeah, thank you all for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you all again tomorrow. All right, take care everyone. Bye.